What's going on, CDL fans? It's time to update my power rankings after week 3 of Major 4 qualifiers. And I actually want to quickly start by looking at the standings, because one of the big things here is the race for champs is insane, right? Obviously, Boston is out, but LAG, Rocker, Legion, and Ravens are all tied, and LA Thieves are only 5 points ahead of those teams. The two teams up here, Seattle Surge and Miami Heretics, I would think aren't going to fall far enough to get knocked out of champs. But these 5 teams right here are really battling out for champs. And so let's quickly look at their schedules to close out the qualifiers. For LAG, they got to go up against Seattle Surge. LAG played really good this past weekend. We'll talk about that when we get into the rankings, but Seattle Surge is a tough draw. For the Minnesota Rocker, they're going up against Las Vegas Legion. Accuracy is back in for Spart, so, you know, I'm not really too confident in them going against Legion, but who knows? For the Legion, they go up against the Rocker and the LA Thieves. So Legion, honestly, two games they probably should win. Then for the Royal Ravens, they're going up against Boston Breach. I mean, you couldn't ask to close out your qualifiers in a better way. And last but not least, my LA Thieves, we go up against Legion and New York Subliners. So obviously, as you can tell, LAT have the hardest draw of the rest of the schedule. We're not in a great place right now. We're not in a great place considering probably the teams under us are most likely going to win. I mean, maybe we can beat New York or the Legion. It's going to be really interesting to see kind of what needs to happen at Major 4 in order for teams to qualify. But with that out of the way, you let me know what teams you think are going to qualify for champs. But I'm going to hop into the power rankings, and we're going to start it out with none other than everyone's favorite green team. It is the Boston Breach, right? Boston's at 12. They've been here for pretty much the entire season, probably other than like the first major when maybe they 3-0'd Toronto Ultra and that pushed them up the rankings. Boston's just not good, man. I mean, they're just not good. They are awful. They went from losing 3-2 to losing 3-0. They set every losing record you basically can have in the CDL. So, you know, it sucks to be them, but hopefully they figure something out for next season. Then we get into number 11, and down one spot, I do have the Minnesota Rocker. The next, 5 teams are kind of hard to judge because some of them are winning, some of them are losing. You know, some are getting better. Some are having tough schedules like Minnesota Rocker or like LA Thieves. So it's kind of tough to do this, and I really think you can mix and match this any way you want. But for me, I got Minnesota down 1 spot to 11, and just above them, down a spot as well, I do have the LA Thieves into 10. Really pains me to do this as a Thieves fan, especially because I feel like we're not playing that bad. I feel like we're still kind of competitive even in the series we're losing, but tough schedule. It's a week-by-week power ranking, right? You know, we're losing, so we're going to fall down the rankings. That's just how it works. Then jumping up 2 spots, it is the other team from LA. It is the LA Gorillas, who went 6-0 map count this past weekend, 3-0ing both of their opponents. Honestly, LAG looked good. I mean, they 3-0'd Boston, which is expected, and then they 3-0'd the Las Vegas Legion, who have been looking really, really good. You know, LAG, they're coming back up as we get closer to the major. They call themselves a major, like a LAN team. They've looked like Lanimals earlier on the season, so we'll see what they look like at Major 4, but right now, they look like they're making the run to qualify for champs. Then at number 8, I still have the Carolina Royal Ravens. I have not moved them. I feel like Ravens are in a spot where, they're still sitting in a place where I almost feel like they're a potential team to have upsets, and especially on LAN. I mean, they're 2-4 right now in this split, so in recent weeks, they haven't really done anything too crazy. Then just above them, to round out the right side of the board, I still have the Miami Heretics in the same spot. Miami's 3-2 this split. Honestly, they look pretty good, but I'm sure we pretty much all have the 2 teams outside the bottom 8 above them, as I do here. And I actually had them swap this time around. I have the Seattle Surge down 1 to 6 and the Legion up 1 to 5. Now, this one's a little iffy. I think you maybe could have kept it the way that we kind of had it for the recent weeks, because Legion did get 3-0'd by the LA Gorillas. But, I mean, Legion's taken down New York. They've taken down OpTic. They've pretty much beat just about everyone that's coming their way, except for LAG, obviously, and then Toronto Ultra back at the beginning of the split. But I personally think Legion are the 5th strongest team in the league right now. And no, I don't think they're in the top 4, especially after losing 3-0 to LAG. I mean, I don't think that really needs to be said. But now we get into our top 4, and this is where obviously it gets spicy every single episode for the most part. It is the same 4 teams. Obviously, it's the same 4 teams, but of course, people have fallen because there's one team in particular that just all of a sudden doesn't know how to get wins. And that team is, of course, OpTic Texas, down 1 spot into number 4. They're 1-4 this split, right? They only have 1 win. They're in 11th place right now. They would be the 11th seed if we headed into Major 4 today. It's definitely going to be interesting to see if they can, win out and go 3-4 and make winners. I know they have to play Toronto Ultra. I'm not sure the other team they have to play is. So they definitely have their work cut out for them. And I know the OpTic fans are going to be mad. We won LAN. LAN is all that matters. And I agree, right? Like I say every week, the power rankings are not like who I think would win, right? It's not, I'm not saying, oh, OpTic's at 4, the other 3 teams would absolutely beat them on LAN. It's just a ranking that updates every single week. And if it was any other team here, if it was FAZE, if it was Ultra, if it was New York switching shoes with OpTic, every OpTic fan would be saying they should be falling down to number 4. You know that's true, so that's the way it's going to go. OpTic is down to 4. The team that obviously took them down this past weekend is up to 3, and then the other 2 are going to stay the same because, well, they're the 2 strongest playing teams currently in the league. And these are the power rankings. Now, what's going to get interesting, I think, here is seeing the matchups for Major 4. Because this coming weekend is the last week of Major 4 qualifiers. There's only 4 weeks this split. There's not 5 like we had a couple of the, like, 2 splits ago in last split. So this is pretty much it, right? If it was to go the way it is right now, we would see FaZe versus Thieves, Gorillas versus Ultra, New York versus Legion, and Miami versus Surge with OpTic in loser's bracket. Now, like I said, if OpTic wins out, which is potentially possible, they have to go up against Boston and Ultra, so at least 1 win, right? But Toronto is playing really good. If OpTic wins out and they go 3 and 4, we could see them somehow get in here with a tiebreaker. But like we went through, Ravens should probably win their 1 matchup. LAT, tough matchup, so they might fall. Same thing with Minnesota Rockers. So Major 4, you know, this next week is pretty much the biggest week of the year at this point. If you want to hang out and watch the matches, I'll be live Saturday and Sunday this weekend to watch them all. Like I said, this is a big week, man. Let me know what you think's going to happen. Who's going to qualify for champs? Obviously, we still have to see what happens at Major 4. That can make a huge world of a difference. But right now, things are looking good, man. The league is kind of as exciting as it's going to get at this point in the season. So with all that being said, I hope you enjoy. Subscribe for more. We're on the road to 5K, and hopefully I'll see you all in the next one.